Unit 10, this comes from the lesson Trig Functions of Any Angle. This is problem number 4. And so we are going to determine the exact values of the 6 trig functions to the right of this particular angle. Remember, we're always going to create a right triangle, and the angle that we're going to address will be the one closest to the origin. We're always going from this point back to this horizontal axis. So we can see that the distance from the origin to this position is 4 radical 2. Now, a common mistake I see students make is they want to say this is a distance of -2. Remember, distance is always positive. So I got to go to the right, a distance of 4 radical 2, and then I'm going to go down 2 to get to this point. Now, how do I figure out the hypotenuse? Well, to do that, I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So I've put that out for us. We have a squared plus b squared, being the 2 legs, equals c squared. Now, when I square this, this is going to be like 4 radical 2 times 4 radical 2, and then 2 times 2. So 4 times 4 is 16. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is simply 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. 32 plus 4 is 36. And normally we would say we have both a plus or minus 6, but when we're talking about distance, again, distance is always positive. So now I have the 3 different sides. When I identify the trig functions, remember, I'm just identifying the ratios of the sides. That's all I'm doing. So now oftentimes students remember what the 6 trig functions are, but they don't remember what particular sides it's referring to. So Mr. McFarland refers to Oscar had a heap of apples as a reminder. So starting with sine, opposite over hypotenuse. From this angle, opposite is 2. And the hypotenuse is 4 over radical 2. I'll come back in a little bit and put it in proper form. The cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent is one of the 2 sides that help create this angle. It can never be the long side or the hypotenuse. So 4 radical 2 over 6. I just want to make sure that I've done this correctly here. I think I may have made a quick mistake. Opposite, which is 2 over the hypotenuse, I meant to write 6. Okay, lastly, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So opposite over adjacent would be 2 over 4 radical 2. All right, so I know that 2 over 6 quickly reduces. They're both even. Divide by 2 to get 1, divide by 2 to get 3. Now, if I flip this around, let me move this off to the side here. Oh, shoot. Okay. So if I flip this around, then the cosecant is 3 over 1. I'll go back and do the signs afterwards. Okay, well, 4 over 6. I know they can be reduced. They're both even. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. This is in proper form. So I have 2 radical 2 over 3. All of that is good. I'll come back and do signs. But when I flip this, I get 3 over 2 radical 2. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So instead of doing the adjacent over the hypotenuse, I'm doing the hypotenuse over adjacent. Okay, well, let's go right now and let's rationalize the denominator. Times radical 2 times radical 2. I have 3 radical 2 over, I already have a 2. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is simply 2. So I'm left with 3 radical 2 over 4. 3 radical 2 over 4. I'll come back and do signs of the 4th quadrant at the very end. Okay, tangent. 2 and 4 reduced down to 1 and 2. So I have 1 over 2 radical 2. Let's rationalize the denominator in the same way that I did it up here to put it in proper form. I have the square root of 2 over 2 times, and square root of 2 times square root of 2 is simply 2. So I have the square root of 2 over 2. Now if I come back to this original one, which is 1 over 2 radical 2, that's the tangent ratio, opposite over adjacent. But if I flip that, I would have 2 radical 2 over 1. Okay, so now I have decided on the different values. Let's attach the correct sign. So remember, we have all-star trig class. That means in quadrant 4, only cosine and its reciprocal are positive. So cosine is positive and its reciprocal is positive. Everything else is going to get 1 negative. That negative can be placed on the top and the bottom or in the middle.